looking at the pathways to develop coaches after they've done all the level 1s and 2s, but that would also bring in what support there is for you after you've done the qualifications and stuff.
I'm also in the direction of pathways, just focusing on the LTA, which is the tennis NGB, and how after a level 2, to do your level 3, you have to be a certain standard, just whether that's fair. So our questions are going to be directed.
Okay, just a broad topic. How do you think you've developed best as a coach? Just to get the conversation going.
How do you mean?
So, from your coaching philosophy and things like that, and you doing coaching over a certain amount of years, how do you think you have got better as a coach? How do you think?
Like what aspects?
Whatever you...
I think like one thing that I've sort of that's probably had the biggest effect on me was learning about like skill acquisition and that side of things, and like feedback and like different strategies to deliver it and that sort of thing. I found has been really helpful, and I've tried to sort of push that through my coaching. I think that's one of the main things. Like obviously, like just confidence in your coaching ability. Obviously, was that you just get better and better. I think naturally as well. So.
I think when you first start, I think you're very well. I was specifically. I feel like sometimes you're quite afraid to not see everything going as you want it to go. So you might not have as broad, and I'd certainly have as broad a knowledge as I do now. And you sort of, if something doesn't happen the way you want it to, you think that that's a worry. Whereas as I've gone on and progressed, I feel now like I'm massively about like athlete-based approaches and giving them problems to solve as opposed to me going in and so going from a very maybe authoritative sort of state when I first started. Now I'm very more letting them take the priorities and then decide the answers for themselves.
So what qualifications do you both have and in what sports?
So mine's weightlifting, and I've done the level 1 and level 2. So the level 2 qualifies you to be a club coach, so I could run my own club essentially.
And
myself, I've got youth module. Well, I'm finishing the youth modules off at the end of next month. So I've got youth module 1 and 2, which is just age specific for kids that are 5 to 11 year olds, 5 to 12. And then I've just finished studying for my UEFA licence, and I've just got to do my final assessment for that now.
And for either of your qualifications that you attended, were there criteria for you as individuals to attend them?
In terms of what other qualifications?
Did you have to be a certain standard?
I hope not. I hope I've never got them. So no, not at all. They ask like for certain experiences as you get older, like as you go through. So like for example, you can't have one qualification if you don't have another one.
Yeah.
But in terms of being in it,
so you mean like in a ladder?
So it's like a ladder process. But in terms of being an ex-pro or whatever, I think that as you go on, I think it favours them, but it's not a necessity.
Mine's the same. Just you couldn't do the level 2 until you did the level 1.
Okay. And sorry, you've already said that you're going for your UEFA licence. Is there anything above that?
Yeah, I'm doing the first UEFA licence and there's another UEFA licence. But then the UEFA licences go like age specific as well, so then like you can choose an age range that you want to work at. So like, you might do the A licence for like 5 to 12 or 12 to 16 or 16 to 21. So there's different, or there's a senior A licence then, so it sort of branches off then.
So within football, the FA, there is a huge structure, like a huge tree, with loads of different pathways that you go through. Pick and choose how you go up and down.
Yeah, but again, so like, you can't cross over. So like, for example, I couldn't do the age-specific A licence, which is higher, if I didn't have the B licence I'm doing now. So you have to do some of the senior qualifications to work onto the age-specific ones eventually.
No.
Yeah, it is a lot.
That's low.
This doesn't really apply to you because you said you can't go any higher than a level 2.
That's
But for yourself, in any of the qualifications or progressions you want to take in the future? Are there any criteria for them, considering playing standard?
Well, if you want to go like senior level, then there's 2 more qualifications above the one that I've got. So I'm just completing the B licence now. There's an A licence and then a pro licence. So if you want to manage like in the Premier League, then you've got to have them 2. But like for me, for working with younger players, it'll be more like the age appropriate A licence. That would be enough. And then there's another one, which is on top of that, which is academy manager, which is that's what you go for if you want to go up to player development group.
But it's not graded on standard then at all?
Not on your standard as a player, just on your standard as a coach.
They're expensive.
Yeah.
Seems like a money maker.
Yeah, I don't go out very often.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are.
That is really like an extensive, thorough process. So when you've gone through that, do you feel after each course you've actually learned and you've actually developed? Or is it just you're doing it to be insured or to have?
Doing it to get the job done, basically. A lot of the stuff that the research I've done from myself, as opposed to like understanding the formats are very rigid with the qualification, so they expect you to do things in a certain way and do certain structures to sessions and stuff, which is very rigid and just creates everybody doing the same thing. So if you want to learn various ways of doing it, you have to go away and do it yourself.
So Alan, you were saying how you've learned other ways through your coaching. That was already from uni and on your degree what you've learned. But when you did the level 1 or 2, was there a step up?
Yeah, definitely. Like the level 1, I thought was a little bit of a joke, really. Like,
really?
Yeah. Everyone just kind of turned up and they didn't even know how to do the lifts at all. So it ended up just them training sort of for a day, practicing, learning the lifts themselves, and then sort of going through like a very, very informal sort of coaching situation where they had to like correct like ridiculously obvious mistakes. So it's like, I don't know.
So someone like you, who's very experienced in it, you sort of just sat there like, what's going on? There were people on the course that have got no idea. So do you think for them, that was helpful?
For them, it would have been massively helpful because they've probably never been coached correctly or like had that sort of experience of coach sort of give them cues and teach them before.
And then going on to the level 2, there is a distinction between courses.
Yeah, definitely. Like there was like a couple from the level 2 I was on, like more or less everyone was sort of had a good idea of what they were doing. Like they could weightlift and they had coaching experience. And then it was just like some slight difference in knowledge in sort of like the scientific principles of like coaching process, or like they very basically sort of, they don't really talk about any sort of anatomy or physiology or any of that sort of stuff. Like they touch on some sort of real basic stuff to do with like stretching, and that's like that was pretty much it. So I think like it had a lot of room for manoeuvre. It was mainly like the bulk of the time was spent sort of talking through British weightlifting's technical models of how they would like it, the moves taught and the lifts taught.
And did you have to be able to do like a clean and jerk to do the course? To pass?
No, like you didn't have to be able to do it. I'm trying to think. Like I don't think you had to. Like if you were demonstrating, you had to be competent.
Okay.
Like it was a prerequisite to get onto the course.
Okay.
So like in a specific coaching scenario, if you were to demonstrate something and you weren't to do it very well, I think you would get marked. Yeah, you get marked down.
I think that's one of the things that the FA have actually done pretty well is like you're saying about having different levels of standard of coach on the same course as you, and I think that's one thing the FA actually do pretty well is that there's like the requisites for age and experience are very much catered to the fact that you have the same standard of people working with you.
Yeah.
So like for when I applied to do my UEFA licence, you have to actually send me your CV as well. So they don't allow you on the course unless your CV warrants that qualification. So, which in a way is good because it gives you people who are all of a similar level and all of a similar understanding.
So in a sense, that's the type of criteria they have.
Yeah, that's a sort of, but it also I think as well it can be negative because there might be people that haven't been fortunate to get the experiences that the coaches on the course have had, and there's a dropout rate. So I think like I know some guys at work that have applied for it 3 or 4 times and haven't got on it because their CV wasn't to the standard they wanted. So in a way, it can lead to dropout, but it can also lead to getting people of a similar standard.
I guess it makes people work harder to do the qualification. It makes it's a very thorough process. Like that's the most thorough of all the national governing bodies I've actually heard. Because I know like, I'm on a level 2 at the moment, and it's I complete this table we do, and it's just like above I do level 2, 3, 4, and then 5 is like an international coach, and then that's it. That's it. Gymnastics. So it's just a bit of a. And then especially the British weightlifting, that's a huge, like, are they UKCC courses that you do? Or is it just FA?
Just the FA.
Just the FA.
I think First for Sport were linked to them to begin with.
Yeah, that's what.
But I don't think they are anymore, because they used to, on all the certificates used to have First for Sport in the bottom corner, but they don't have that there anymore, so I think they've gone on their own, I think.
A British weightlifting First for Sport, or UKCC? They're not, I know they're not UKCC.
What, are you funding?
No, First for Sport is like a coach accreditation, like they give the certificates.
I think it's like, I don't know, I think it's just British weightlifting.
Yeah, I don't think they are.
Because on my certificate it's just British weightlifting. I think there might be something else, I don't know.
I
haven't looked at it that closely.
No, I looked on the website and they're not. Well, I looked at the Portuguese coaching structure and there's no. Like, I just don't find it so strange. Like compared to the FA, after level 2, that's it.
Yeah, it goes through that's majority sport versus minority sport.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. But after, so your coaches, are they all just like, how do they become British like coaches?
What once they've qualified?
Well, the ones they've done their level 2, how do they get like Zoe Smith's coach, like what?
Like I mean, I'm lucky enough where like my coach has already got a massive framework of lifters and like a club in different locations. So I kind of just sort of slot in as one of like looking after one of his locations, and I'm technically he sort of like oversees everything, but I'm technically the head location of the Felton borough.
Okay.
But for people who haven't got those sort of like connections, like I can't imagine, I don't know how they would go about it. They'd have to just literally either find a job in a university team, or maybe approach like a CrossFit gym, or just like I don't know, find like a traditional weightlifting club. I don't know.
It's a very
like they don't prep you for that at all.
It's a very close knit network with British weightlifting. So I guess you just have to get good athletes to come to you and then become.
Like it's like I never really sort of thought about it before, but it's actually like quite interesting because if you haven't got that sort of route in, like I could see it being so difficult to actually establish a club and like start one from nothing.
Yeah.
So I think that probably could be a big thing that they could probably improve on.
I've got one last question, and it's to do with the tennis NGB, the LTA, and it's similar in a sort of sense. The jump from level 2 onto a level 3, you have to be a certain standard, and the way the standard is judged in tennis, you have ratings, and it's quite a long process to get your rating to a high standard. You have to travel, you have to pay for travel obviously, and then you can go on the course. So my question is do you think that's fair? Do you think you have to be a good player to be a good coach?
That's why I said you go.
Yeah, like I constantly sort of like think about this all the time because I know loads of people who are ex-lifters who are now coaches, and I know a couple of people who aren't very good lifters and are coaches, and it's like, I don't know.
Are they bad coaches?
They're not bad coaches. They're not bad coaches at all. I think they're good coaches. But I guess I don't know. I think maybe there might be like a certain level that you coach at. Because like I've found that because I've been in sort of all because I've trained myself. I've been through all the processes, so I've been in all the squads myself, and I've heard other lifters talking about certain coaches saying, how is he going to help me when I can snatch 120 and he can snatch not even body weight or something like that. So, you know, like I think you might lose a bit of respect then. I don't know. But then I don't think that's fair.
Yeah. Mike is just adding on to that before I come to you is that the level 3 qualification allows you to sort of be a head coach. So as a head coach, when you finish, you can go in 2 directions. You can either become a development coach, so that'll be working with the younger the players, or you can go performance players. So as you said, out of respect, you don't need respect in a certain sense to coach the fundamental players. So do you think that is fair in that case? Exactly, you don't. So do you think it's needed there? And also, do you think it should be, in your sport, do you think there should be a standard it should be at?
I think it works both ways. I think it works both ways. I think from what you said about the more academic coaches working with the younger players might not have had a career as a performer. I think that's a lot more key because I've seen ex-pros working with younger players, and there's stuff that you say you'd never do that with younger players because they're only doing what they've learned. Because in England, if you're an ex-professional, you can join the A and the B losses together and do them in the same course at the time. So when they're doing that, they don't get the same education as the coaches that have done it as a career and done it as a degree. So I think with the younger players specifically, I think it's very important that they're working with people that understand skill acquisition, understand long-term athlete development, as opposed to
which is not necessarily gained from just being a good player.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't think it is at all, to be honest. And I think that sometimes they get bypassed by just because they've had an ex-career. You know, like coaching for as long as I have, a coach that's been an ex-pro working for a year might get a much better job than I have, even though I've been studying and working for so many years. So I think it depends where you go. Some are a lot more forward thinking than others.
Yeah, I think that's a key point as well that I miss, like that I completely agree with. Like I think you see so many ex-athletes who are coaches, but like it's only because they're an athlete and like they haven't got any sort of scientific background to sort of like with certain things, and I think that should be like the key focus. Yeah, like if they are, like I think it's important to have like some sort of level of experience within the field, but you need to have that backing as well, and like some sort of academia.
Mix of both.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Are we swapping or are you swapping?
So I will get
It's all set up.
We'll get it.